Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about Commander and upgrading the Rebellion Rising preconstructed deck. Precon uses Nyali, Sun's Vanguard as the default commander, and though I think Othari is a much better commander, I think Nyali fits the deck much better out of the box. I'd like to make a Othari deck in the future, so if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments below. Nyali is a 3/3 human rebel that costs 2 red/white. They give all attacking tokens you control double strike. Also, whenever one or more tokens you control attack a player, exile the top card of your library. During any turn you attacked with a token, you may play that card. I think this commander has a lot of potential. Like most white color pairs, Boros is very good at populating the board with tokens. Giving all of them double strike is amazing. This will probably give you opportunities for favorable trades while also dishing out double damage. The card advantage effect is a great bonus also. Even though it has an attack restriction, permanently expanding your hand in the exile should never be underestimated, especially when that effect is tied into your primary game plan to start with. If you spread around your attacks, you can get multiple of those triggers too. It doesn't say one or more players, just one or more tokens, so in early game this effect will be very powerful. I'm not going to discuss my cuts in a ton of detail, but most of what I cut were non-token related utility cards and some lands. If you'd like to see what they all were, you can see them in the deck list and in the description. I've added 17 cards to the Precon, and I'll cover those and some other suggestions. The Precon is pretty cool if you're into go-wide strategies, and I think it's also worth checking out if you're looking to branch into that archetype. First off, I'm going to cover some utility cards. The deck doesn't have a ton of card advantage since a good source of some sits in the command zone. I think it's always a good idea to include some basic card advantage though, just for the sake of redundancy if your commander is ever removed. Vikakoru, War Room, and Gairi Sanitarium are ones you'll commonly see on this channel. They're all budget friendly, and as lands are utility protected against most removal effects. They aren't exactly efficient, but they are persistent, which I just personally found more helpful in my games. I put in Wear and Tear and Grand Crescendo also in this list. Grand Crescendo can protect the board while also populating it, which is awesome. Wear and Tear is just an upgraded version of Rip Apart. I thought the deck could use a bit more protection and improved interaction, so that's why I added them. Halo Fountain, Strixhaven Stadium, and Kajor and Outpost are some other common cards I like to add to token decks. The Outpost is a small token production effect I like including in most lists. It helps with instant speed jump blockers or the prep for the following turn. The other 2 cards are alternate win conditions that I normally add for most token strategies. They're pretty easy to pull off, especially Strixhaven Stadium in this deck. Since it's a combat damage trigger that applies the point counters, the double strike our commander provides like turbocharges this win condition. I've talked about Myriad a lot over the past couple of videos, but this is yet another deck I think Myriad works very well for. Duke Older, Blade of Cells, and Battle Angels of Tyr I think are some great options here. Since our commander's double strike buff only cares about things attacking and isn't an attack trigger, it just synergizes very well with Myriad in general. Inquisitorial Rosette, Parhelion 2, and Krenko are all cards that make tokens on attack. I think Inquisitorial Rosette will be a great staple for go-wide decks in the future. Not only making tokens but providing everything menace is very strong in go-wide strategies. It makes us very difficult to deal with and allowing all that damage to get through to our opponents. Parhelion 2 is another pet card of mine that I try to fit in any deck that'll take it. It's arguably not very good, but I think here it's an exception. Making 2 4/4s with flying is awesome, but they also have double strike. That's suddenly 21 damage being produced on attack here between everything, which is a brutal swing from one card. Finally are some heavy hitters in Zirium, Elspeth, and Ancient Gold Dragon. Elspeth is always a sick planeswalker to add for go-wide decks. She makes tokens, she has a potential one-sided board wipe, and she produces an amazing anthem to buff our creatures and give them flying. Zirium and Ancient Gold Dragon are some sick flyers that reasonably enable go-wide strategies by themselves. Zirium also works on combat damage, so his tokens having double strike produces double the tokens, further scaling his engine. Gold Dragon is a sweet token production RNG machine. It's an exciting card to play with and is an insane target for Myriad effects. That's it for my personal additions, but there are many cards we can expand on with Boros tokens if you're looking for more options. Anointed Procession and Mondrak both create double tokens for us. Effects like these are normally just win more and not really needed to win the game. They are also both over $40 at the time of recording. I don't like my videos or suggestions based off a budget, but it does feel weird to suggest cards that are basically the same price as the Precon itself, if the Precon doesn't really need them. If you don't really care about that, or already have them, then add them, they're great cards. I also didn't include staples like Smothering Tithe or the Reaver Cleaver. I think if you cut too many cards from a Precon, it isn't really an upgrade anymore, it's basically a new deck, so I had to hold off somewhere. I came up with 17 cuts as an arbitrary number that I felt like was enough to improve the deck on while also holding on to its identity. I thought the Precon did a pretty good job with mana, and I thought it would be enough, so I didn't include these 2. Smothering Tithe needs no introduction, but the Cleaver would be great here, especially if you're putting it on larger tokens with double strike. If you're looking for more budget-friendly ramp options, I always like to recommend the Mirror Cycle and Ornithoptera Paradise. Mana Rocks are more safe, but these synergize with Myriad effects and can be used as blockers in a pinch. Other good options are Odric, Master of Ceremonies and Keeper of the Accord. Odric is probably first in my list to include if one of my other additions don't work out. He can ensure we get damage through if we're in a stalemate or need to close out the game. The other two are utility cards that also have creature production effects. It's hard to say how helpful they'll be since they both rely on your opponents in some way, but it never hurts to add them and they're pretty budget friendly. Outlaw's Merriment, Luminarch Ascension, and Cathar's Crusade are some enchantments that really synergize with the list as well. Outlaw's Merriment makes random tokens every upkeep. Luminarch can straight up win you the game by itself if you get it out early enough. Finally, Cathar's Crusade synergizes with our combat-centric token list. Luminarch and Cathar's Crusade are both cards I commonly bring up, but with a caveat. I've always found Luminarch to be too consistent and sometimes can take off too early to really make a satisfying game for anyone at the table. Cathar's is an amazing card, but it's really a pain to represent at the table once the board fills with tokens that enter at different points in the game. It's really up to you if these cards will fit your playstyle on pod. These are just my experiences with them, and I think it's worth mentioning. I didn't cover every card in this deck or every suggestion I have for this precon, so if you'd like to see the rest, check out the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider clicking the like button and subscribing to the channel. Comment below on cards you think synergize well with this commander, and if you have any suggestions for commanders to build in the future. Thank you so much for watching, good luck, and have fun.